My name is Alan Edens, and this is my story. So in my early 20s, I was saved, I knew God, but I was just far from living like I should be. I was running around, just not doing what I should be doing. And then a few years later, transitioned to 1996 when I met Lisa, and she was a church piano player, and I started going to her church, and I was like, oh, this is what, I need. 3 months later, we were married. We were both 26. It was me and her for many years. In 2018, June, we were planning on one of our great adventures that we loved having. And she was having some stomach issues. So she wanted me to take her to the emergency room. The pain was really, really bad. And they took the biopsy of her liver. And then on July 4th, just a week later, we got the results that she had bile duct cancer, and it was already stage 4. That was my person, Excuse me. August 15th, 2018, Lisa passed 6 a.m. in the morning, and that was one of, or not the darkest time in my life, because I just lost my best friend and confidant. But another layer to the story is earlier in 2012, I received a Facebook Messenger from someone claiming to be my daughter, and I was like, no way, this could not be possible. I was never unfaithful to Lisa. We were married for 22 years, a great marriage, but her name was Cerissa, and she said, hey, I think you're my father. She, especially after Lisa passed, she started messaging me even more, and would say that she's there for me if I need her, and she became really a good friend, a confidant to me, and I was, at that point, agreed, after Lisa passed, to a DNA test. I was at Fort Hood, Texas, and she was in Georgia, and then a week, 10 days later, I get the results, and surprise, it's a girl, 99.9998% accurate that she's my daughter. And I was like, this God, what now?
When Lisa got sick, I felt God calling me to reach out to him more. So I would say probably every day for a couple weeks, I would send him a message every single day and just send him songs and scripture and messages. Hey, how are you? And it was a very dark time for him. And I wanted to make sure he didn't feel alone. I mean, of course, I had never met him, and we had just talked back and forth for several years, but I still cared about him. Lisa did pass away, and it was just a very dark time, and my heart went out for him, and I didn't know what it meant to be in his life, but I knew even if it wasn't confirmed that he was my dad, I still wanted to be a part of his life. And,
I was nervous, and I had shame from my past, and this was kind of reminding me of some of that, not that it's me, so it was just, I was nervous about taking a DNA test, plus I didn't want to mention it to my wife. I mean, even though it happened years before we were married, it just would have been too hard. But I had felt for years that I couldn't have kids. That wasn't part of my story. And I know it was silly. God forgives, and I've asked for forgiveness for my past. But I felt like that was maybe some kind of punishment, or I was ashamed of it, and it just wasn't going to happen. But God was able to take that sin and that shame and the death of my wife and turned it into something beautiful in my life. And now I have a daughter, I have 2 granddaughters, I have a son-in-law. They love me, I love them. I get to be a part of Christmases and Easter and birthday parties, and we get to serve God together. It's just an amazing thing. And I think if anyone could get anything out of our story, would be to not let shame or your past or sin, don't let Satan use that to defeat you or silence you. God, can use all things for our good,
This is my dad, Alan.
This is my daughter, Cerissa, and this is our story.